All right, YouTube. So this is for the crankshaft position sensor on a 5.2 liter or 5.9 liter V8 Grand Cherokee. Okay. So mine went bad. Died on me at a Good Evening Ranch, West Virginia. Towed 6 hours out there, and I already knew I kind of had an intermittent issue. But anyways, all the videos online don't show you crap. So I'm going to show you what exactly you need to get to the bolts. Now, I still haven't got to the connector, and that's going to be a whole different, I'm probably going to make a new video. So the biggest thing was moving this reservoir. It's 3 bolts, one there, and then it has one here. Mine didn't have it, so mine was just 2, and then that comes out. It has a little connector that I just stuffed back here. And then you have the computer, and the computer is right here. It's got 3 connectors, and then it also has 2 additional connectors on that wiring harness, and those are these 2 guys. So this whole thing runs back behind here and then plugs into the computer here. So just undo those 3, undo the 2 that hang right here, these 2, the black and white or gray, and then set those aside. Now I marked these because until I pulled them off, I didn't see these colors on the inside. They just all looked black. So I did 1, 2, 3, and I did the same on the actual connector itself. So 1, 2, 3. So then that way I couldn't mess them up because that's the computer and I don't want to deal with that. The other ones are black and white, so there's no getting those confused. Once you get those out of the way, people online say, oh, you gotta undo the spark plugs, the front 2 spark plugs and wires. I did not need to do that. I don't understand why they would. They all said you need to take out the shield. I did not need to do that. Mine was already bent like this, and I just left it. It seems to be fine. But I just pushed the wires back up here and kind of hung them underneath this right here. I don't know what that is. What is that? I think that's something to do with air conditioning. Yeah, so just kind of pushed them out of the way because they naturally sit on the backside here. They run across the back of the valve cover, so I just pushed them back up so they're out of the way. But right now you can see all this is going to take is one small extension, like I should have another one up here. One small extension like this, and then a swivel socket. And then you can just reach your hand in here and get it. It's got 2 Allens. These are 1/4 inch Allens. Where's that bolt at? So these are 1/4 inch Allens. It looks kind of offset. That's strange for an Allen bolt. Anyways, there's 2 of them. The first one was easy. I mean, it's right here. So it's just below. So you see the valve cover, and then you have the head. And it's in between the head and the transmission. So it's just at the bottom of the head. So I do that, and then I run this swivel off of there, and that gets me to them. So I'm about to get that one off here, and then because I couldn't get to the connector for the crankshaft position sensor, like it goes back along kind of the passenger side top of the transmission, so I haven't been able to get to it yet, and I tried pulling it this way and I can't, so it may just be like hooked how they hook to the firewall with, like, you know, they just kind of push in and it just hangs there. But I'm afraid to pull too hard and rip some connectors out and make a semi-difficult job an extremely difficult. So I'm hoping once I get this out I can flop it over the side and maybe, I don't know, my wife can actually get her hands up onto it, so I may get this part done and then wait till next week, and when she returns, and then she'll get the connector for me. So we'll see. But I wanted to show you guys this because no one could ever get eyes on it in videos, and everyone always talked about it after, but not like in the middle. So I'm trying to get you a little bit more of an idea of how this is going to go down, and you don't have to remove everything. Doing those connectors in that bottle took me less than 5 minutes to get this all to this situation, so it's really not that much stuff to remove. Also, be careful of this this little vacuum line here that runs from this guy, and it goes around and then it comes over to here. Well, when I first tried doing this without all that stuff, when I was out at the off-road park when this happened, I ended up breaking it. So don't be like me and break that. disconnect that thing, because there is a little joint there, I believe. There's like a little joint there you can disconnect. It's not the end of the world, because you can easily repair these. They have little connectors, but just don't break it. All right, guys. Well, that's that. Good luck with this one. This is a crappy location on this motor, but it is doable with simple tools. Okay, so this is the total what I was using. What you saw just a second ago was here to here. All right, now all this is just for ease, like getting it all the way up out of the engine compartment, so I can just sit back and do it. This is just the important setup here. Having this, I've seen other videos that said they had to cut this down and do a bunch of weird stuff. You don't have to. This is factory. That's a Pittsburgh, Husky. Nothing's modified here. This is just, these are all standard, and this is just swivel. And you want to put the swivel here. You don't want to put the swivel here. Good luck trying to get that on there with the swivel there. So, and make sure the swivel is attached to this already. Because if you're trying to take this, like how I just had it a second ago, let me set the camera down here for a second. So when I went to switch from the first bolt to the second bolt, and that's when I picked up the camera, I accidentally pulled this off with the extension, and then trying to get this back to that without knocking this off once you get it in there. Yeah, so make sure that this is connected to this, and you take this unit. Let me connect this again. Oops, sorry about that. So you want to work with this. This is what you want to work with to get it on those bolts, and it's pretty simple to do. I never dropped it once. You're going to want to have thicker gloves, not like latex like this, because of these air conditioning things right here. These are going to dice you up. As you can see right there, they got some sharp edges and they're spinning and stuff. So, and the shortest edge is the sharp edge, so that's where you're going to get the most space. So you're going to want to be pressed up against those sharp edges, because your arm is going to go back here to the right of those. So you're going to go down through that area with your right arm. Your left arm's going to go down through this area. So you're going to be straddling this thing right in the middle. I mean, if you don't have AC, I guess you could, and everything's dumped out already, like all the Freon, whatever that crap's called. You can, I guess, disconnect those things. But these are hard lines, so like, I don't know, there's much moving. Let's just scratch that. Don't mess with those lines. You can do this easily without. It may just be a little bit pain. Then again, I have bigger arms. Like, I'm 6'2", so it's harder to get in these tight spaces. For someone else, like my wife, or a smaller person, someone that's 5'5", that's not like, you know, have huge arms, it's gonna be pretty easy for them to get in there. So yeah, don't sweat that. I got mine out. I got the bolts out, so I'm just about to pop it out and then see what happens. So yeah, I just want to show you guys that, show you the setup. This is all you need to get this job done. And then extensions like this are nice because it gets you out of the engine compartment, so you can just go at it. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have any issues with when wrenching on this trying to walk out or anything, so that was pretty simple. All right, so now I have gotten the new one in. So you can see, yeah, it's pretty good, lined up pretty good. You couldn't actually see that until I just looked at through the camera. It's looking pretty good. So how you do it is you're going to go with your left hand in the same spot. You're just going to hold that thing in your hand and just kind of fish it down. But keep like one of your fingers. I usually use like my pointer or my middle, like extend it down, like kind of grip it with your back two fingers and keep your other finger out. And what you're doing with these other fingers is you're going to be feeling for that hole where the sensor is going to drop down into. And so it can pretty much only go one way. So you're just going to be feeling around with the hole. Once you got the hole, just kind of push the big black part that goes in the hole of the thing in there. And then you're just going to slowly start. Then once you've kind of got that in there, then you can... Yeah, sorry, I kind of ended the video there. So then you can get your right hand back through the same area against this stuff, going down this side. And then with both your hands, just kind of work it down. You'll be pushing on that metal bracket. Let's see if I can get the camera in there a little bit better. What the heck? A second ago I could see this stuff. Now I can't. What is up with that? So you'll be getting... Oh, where'd the mic go? Focus. Focus. So you'll just be kind of working that... come on. This object right here is tripping out the camera. There we go. So you'll just be working the metal part, you know, left and right with your left hand and your right hand, and just slowly pushing it in, and then it'll just bottom out in the correct place because that plastic thing goes one way and the bracket kind of sits on a ledge. So just that took 2 minutes just now working that down there, maybe 3. Just be patient, and yeah, then you should have that in there. Now I'm about to put those bolts in, and then I'll take a look at that connector on the backside, but most likely this will be the end of this video completely. I thought it was done the last time, but then I decided to drop it in and give you guys an update, so it got extended. Okay, so I'd update you. Here's the update. So I'm putting the bolts back in. I just got the first one in. I'm about to move on to the hardest one. Now, do this. Take a little piece of tape. Take the sticky side, and so wrap the Allen, right? Let me see if I can set up my camera. I'm gonna do this like this. Okay. All right. So take it like this. Yeah, focus. So what I did was I took this. Oh, I already chopped it out. So let's make a new one. Here we go. You get to watch. So this is so you don't drop the bolt back there and it gets stuck on some wire loom over the transmission, and then you can't get to this bolt. So I just take a little piece of tape, nothing special about it, just some painter's masking tape. So the sticky side, you can see it stuck to my finger. So the back side, the non-sticky side, that's what I'm going to wrap around the Allen. The reason for this is I want to make sure that it's holding onto the bolt, not that the tape's holding on to the Allen. So I don't want this bolt dropping off, so put that on there. Going to wedge it on real tight, and that should make sure that if you were to pull it out hard enough, it's going to come out. But this is just make sure that as you're trying to fish it in there, it's not just going to fall off, because that's a pain in the butt. Also, I removed the swivel head for when I'm going in with this thing, just because it's a pain in the butt. So there's that. All right, I'm going to try and show you, let me get my flashlight. I'm going to try and show you where I got the connector from. So I just finished the job. It took a total of an hour and a half from start to finish, taking everything out, doing the videos with you guys, and putting it all back together. So you can see there's those connectors, there's the computer cables in the bottle, and then I've re-put the spark plug wires back on the back side. They were just tucked up right here. So you can see, you just undo the engine connectors, these two connectors, move the bottle, just slide these out of the way, and you're working. Now, this was probably the hardest thing to do, because you have no slack. So pretty much I had to wedge one hand right up through here. I had to get it here and then shift it over like this, because it won't go up here. So I have to get it up through here. My other hand was going this way between this. This is the transfer case linkage, I believe. Yes. So you go between this transfer case linkage, this bracket, this transmission line. You're gonna take this one and you go up there. And so once I had the new one in, both of them were in. The old one was connected to the chassis harness still, and then the new one was bolted in, and just the connector was hanging. So I just flung the connector over to the side to where I could actually finally get to it, and I was able to pull it, and I could get it to like right here. And then the other one, I was able to pull it, and I can see it over here, and then I could easily disconnect it. But then trying to get it to connect to the other one, they both only meet right up here at the top, where there's almost no room and there's no slack, and I can just get like 2 fingers on this one and 2 fingers on this one, and like it was just, you just have to make sure they're both
oriented the right way and just sit there and try and push them until they finally meet up and go together, and they just have just enough slack to go together and click. It's a nightmare. I can't stand doing things with like hands above my head, but that's the hardest thing. But other than that, once you get that, you should be good to go. Moment of truth on mine. Does it run now? That's what I want to know. Does it run? So let's find out here. Let me roll out. Because if it ain't this, I don't know. There's my old one right there. So let's get power to the... This is my handy dandy glass holder. Let me zoom out for you. I use the whip lights because the shocks are bad. That's, oh well. Because it's got those shocks, and then it's got the shocks. Oh yeah, these ones. Sorry, I pointed those ones. Those ones for the big hatch. This is for a little hatch. Yeah. 4 struts for a damn back hatch. It's a little much. Okay, we got power. Make sure it's solid. Solid. All right, here we go. Wish me luck. Does she run? Put your votes in the comments. Hopefully I didn't leave anything anywhere. Uh-oh. That's not good. Shit! Well, stay tuned for more. It wasn't the crankshaft position sensor, or I didn't get the connector all the way connected. I will look into that.